Hi, this is Stan Lyle with Master Math. During the lesson, you're going to come to some You Try It slides where you're asked to do problems that relate to the lesson. Hit your pause button, try the problem, and then hit the forward key to move on to the answer. I hope you have a really good time today. Our lesson today is on polynomials. And really, this is more of a vocabulary lesson than a math lesson. There's a lot of vocabulary to learn and just a little bit of math. And the math is kind of easy. But we all got to learn the words, so let's start. And before this lesson's done, you'll understand what a monomial is, what degree means, what a polynomial is, what's a leading coefficient, what's a binomial, a trinomial, what does FOIL mean, and what are like terms. Monomials, binomials, trinomials, polynomials. That's a whole bunch of nomials, isn't it? Well, it is. And nomial is a word that means something in algebra. A nomial is a noun that means a name or a term. And I made term big because that's what we're going to call them. We're going to call them terms. And all we're going to do is have a different number of terms in each of these vocabulary words. For instance, a monomial. A monomial means a number, a variable, or the product of a number and a variable with whole number exponents. Think of it like a monocycle. A monocycle has one wheel, and a monomial is going to have one term. 10, that's a monomial, it's just a number. 5x is also a monomial. That's the product of a number and a variable. 1/3 xy squared is a monomial. It's the product of a number and two variables, and both of the variables have whole number exponents. The x has a whole number 1 as an exponent, and the y has a whole number 2. And minus 2.5 z to the third is also a monomial. How about these? Are these monomials? No, they're not. 12 plus x. That's not a single number. That's two terms. 3 divided by a. That's not the product. That's the quotient. 3 to the x. Well, our exponent is a variable, not a whole number. And x to the minus 2. Again, our exponent is not a whole number. Here's a little bit more vocabulary. What does degree mean? Well, degree is the greatest degree or power of the terms of the polynomial. If I had 3x, the x is to the first power, so my degree is 1. But what if I changed it to 3x squared? Now my x is to the second power, and my degree would be 2. How about if I added plus 5x? Well then, I've got an x to the fifth power and an x to the second power. The highest degree is the fifth power, so this polynomial would have a degree of 5. Well, we know what a monomial is. What's a polynomial? Well, a polynomial is a monomial or the sum of monomials. Here's the way to remember it. Polynomial. Nomial is term. Poly is several. A polygon is a several-sided figure. A polynomial is an expression with several terms. It can have just a single term. 3x squared is both a monomial and a polynomial. But it could have two terms. 3x squared plus 2x is two monomials or a polynomial. 3x squared plus 2x minus 12 is 3 monomials, or a polynomial. Well, what's the degree of this polynomial? Well, that just means what's the exponent of the highest powered variable in the expression. In this expression, x is raised to the second power, and 2 is the degree of the polynomial. What's the leading coefficient? Well, it's traditional to line up a polynomial so that the term with the highest power is all the way to the left. And then as we move to the right, the powers of the terms decrease. So, in this case, I've got my highest powered term on the left side, 3x squared. And the coefficient of 3x squared is the leading coefficient. How about the constant term? Well, our constant term is minus 12. It's the constant number. It's not a variable. And you'll see that I included that minus sign because it's a negative number. It's plus minus 12. Well, how about a binomial? What's a binomial mean? Well, it's a nomial and it's got a bi in front of it. That's like a bicycle. How many wheels are on a bicycle? There's 2 wheels on a bicycle. And a binomial has 2 terms. How about a trinomial? Tricycle. 3. A trinomial has 3 terms. Well, that's plenty of vocabulary for me. Now let's get down to math. I like math. I'm not crazy about vocabulary. And here's the math for this lesson. Adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials. Here we're adding 2 polynomials. I've got 3x squared plus 2x plus 3, and I want to add to that 2x squared plus 4x minus 5. And what we need to do is add the like terms. Well, one way to see that easily is to line the 2 polynomials up above each other, and then you can see that I got 3x squared on the top and 2x squared on the bottom. So I'm going to combine those. I've got 3x squareds and 2x squareds. That's a total of 5x squareds. And then I'm going to combine my 2x and my 4x, and I'll get 6x. I'll combine my positive 3 and my minus 5, and I'll get minus 2. So, the sum of those 2 polynomials is 5x squared plus 6x minus 2. I simply combined my like terms. How about this one? 2a cubed minus 3a squared plus 4 minus the expression a cubed plus 2a squared minus 3a minus 3. Up above, we lined the 2 polynomials up vertically. Here, let's just keep it horizontal and try to solve it without lining them up. First thing I want to do is get rid of my parentheses. My first term, I can just take those parentheses off, and I've got 2a cubed minus 3a squared plus 4. But my second polynomial is being subtracted. And I'm not just subtracting the first term of this polynomial. I'm not just subtracting a cubed. I got to subtract a cubed. I got to subtract plus 2a squared. I got to subtract minus 3a. And I got to subtract 3. And that negative sign means I'm going to change the signs in front of each and every monomial inside that polynomial. So my a cubed becomes minus a cubed. My positive 2a squared becomes minus 2a squared. My minus 3a becomes positive 3a. And my minus 3 becomes positive 3. Now I just combine my like terms. I combine my 2a cubed and my minus a cubed, and I get a cubed. I combine my minus 3a squared and my minus 2a squared, and I get minus 5a squared. I've only got one a term. There is no other like term. So I'll just bring down that 3a. And then my constant terms, my plus 4 and my plus 3, I'll combine those and I'll get plus 7. My answer is a cubed minus 5a squared plus 3a plus 7. Now you try this one. Hit the pause button, do the problem, and then hit the forward key to move on to the answer. Now I'm going to do this one horizontally. I'm just going to get rid of the parentheses around each of these polynomials and rewrite this to read 5x squared minus 2x plus 6. That's just the first polynomial brought down exactly as it was originally stated. But the second polynomial, I got a minus sign in front of the whole polynomial, so I have to change the sign of both of the terms inside the polynomial. My plus 3x squared becomes minus 3x, and my plus 5 becomes minus 5. Now I'm going to combine like terms. I'm going to combine my 5x squared and my minus 3x squared, and that's going to give me 2x squared. I've only got one x term, minus 2x, so I'll bring that up. I've got two constant terms, plus 6, minus 5, and when I combine those, I get plus 1. So my answer is 2x squared minus 2x plus 1. Well, that's addition and subtraction. How about multiplication of polynomials? It's really not that tricky. Let's say we had 3x times 2x squared plus x minus 4. We have to distribute that 3x to all three terms within the parentheses. We have to distribute to each term of the polygon. We have to multiply 3x times 2x squared, and that's 6x cubed. We have to multiply 3x times x, and that's positive 3x squared. And we need to multiply 3x times minus 4, and that's minus 12x. And that's our answer, 6x cubed plus 3x squared minus 12x. How about this one? I'm multiplying a binomial times a binomial. Well, it's really about the same thing. I want to multiply the x, I want to distribute that x in the first binomial to both of the terms of the second binomial. I got to multiply the x times the 2x. I got to multiply the x times the plus 3. And then I got to move on to my second term in the binomial, the plus 2. And I have to multiply that plus 2 times the 2x. And then also multiply that plus 2 times the plus 3. And when I do that, I get 2x squared plus 3x plus 4x plus 6. Now I need to combine like terms. I've got a 3x and a 4x. And when I combine those, I get 7x. So my answer is 2x squared plus 7x plus 6. Here's the same problem, and I think that the easiest way to remember how to do this is to remember that I have to distribute each of the monomials in the first binomial, each of the terms in the first binomial, times each of the terms in the second binomial. But here's another way to help you remember the order of the multiplication. FOIL, F-O-I-L. And that stands for first, outside, inside, and last. First, I take the first term in each of the binomials and I multiply those times each other. I take the x times the 2x and I'm going to get 2x squared. Then outside, I take the outside term from each of the two binomials, the x and the 3, and I multiply those. And it's plus x times plus 3, so my answer is going to be plus 3x. Inside, I take the two inside terms and I multiply those. Plus 2 times plus 2x is going to be plus 4x. And then I take the last term from each of the binomials, the 2 times the 3. Plus 2 times plus 3 is plus 6. And then I just got to combine the like terms, and I'll get 2x squared plus 7x plus 6. You try this one. Hit your pause button, try the problem, and then hit your forward key to move on to my answer. All right, I got to multiply these two binomials times each other. And I think I'll remember FOIL. I'm going to multiply the first term of each of the two binomials times each other. 3x times x equals 3x squared. FOIL, O, outside. All right, I'm going to take the two outside terms, 3x and minus 6. 3x times minus 6 is minus 18x. Now, F-O-I, inside. I'm going to take the two inside terms, the plus 5 and the x, and I'll multiply those times each other, and I'll get plus 5x. And then F-O-I-L, L, last. I'm going to take the last terms and multiply them by each other. Plus 5 minus 6 minus 30. Now I got to combine like terms. I've only got one x squared term. I've only got one constant number. But I've got two x terms, a minus 18x and a plus 5x. And when I combine those, I get minus 13x, or a complete answer of 3x squared minus 13x minus 30. You're going to be working with polynomials an awful lot from now on in your math career. So let's make sure that you understand this real well. Go to www.mastermath.info, and then you'll find worksheets and quizzes to make sure you understand this subject pretty well. Well, I had a good time. I hope you did too, and I hope I see you again soon.